They say all politics is local. Ever since 2016, though, it was always difficult to not see everything in our democracy as being driven by the theater and machinations from the very top of our ruling class. It was during this tumultuous time that a whole new generation got involved in politics at various levels, myself included. But it was not until 2020, in the midst of yet another crazy national election year, that I came across groups of activists fighting for the smallest offices a person could possibly run for.
This was a really informative documentary. There are so many parts about politics and democracy that we don't like, and a lot of the time we look to the very top for the source of our problems and solutions. But this piece does a really good job of giving insight into politics that are actually within our reach. There was a lot of really basic information here about county committee that I appreciated because I didn't know about it before, so I assume that a lot of other people don't either. Just things like the number of vacant seats and the fact that they put deceased people on ballots, or even how gendered it was. I found that all really interesting. And I thought it was inspiring to hear how easy it is to get involved and how necessary too. I thought this was a really great piece, and I hope it inspires the change that they're looking for. I think it will.
It definitely knows that this is a topic that not a lot of people are aware of, and I'm not really sure if there's an equivalent version of this in my country, but I'm intrigued at the idea that anyone, regardless of sort of political experience, can just apply for these positions and enact real change in their communities. I loved the stories of some of the folks that are so passionate about this very niche branch of government and the way that they feel like they've found a solution to many of the problems in their lives or in their government, and the sort of loopholes that they've realized are being exploited by certain groups. There's a lot to learn about how these little changes can have large effects in real ways in government in the US. It's a very complicated system, but I feel like I unwrapped a very small part of it, which was very fun.
This was a very informative documentary, and I found it interesting how it explored the process for being politically involved, and what different people have done and what some of the challenges were that they faced. I thought it was overall really informative and really interesting, and I liked the approach that it took.
This is a very, very, very interesting piece. I really like, first of all, how they really just kind of very bare bones break it down for you, like what the county is and how the committees work and how all these things. There's a lot of information being given to us and taught to us here. So that's very good. And they're also getting inside and saying how so very few people participate in these process. And, this is how you can make a difference, and it shows how you can get involved in county committees. So there's a lot of great information being given, and we're also seeing these people do these things they're talking about. So it's very good that these folks are making this film and instructing us about these things, then and also doing them. So that's very good. It's really well put together. I really enjoyed seeing all the people, all the faces, the enthusiasm and the love and the passion they have for what they're doing. Everybody just seems so full of life and so sincere. So that was excellent. The piece was just wonderfully made. It was wonderfully directed and edited. Good use of score. Great job from the filmmakers, because they really captured some very interesting folks here, very interesting faces and voices that I enjoyed seeing. So good luck with this. I really hope it gets out there and gets seen.
I thought that the film County was an inspiring educational tool and also call to action for concerned citizens around the country, and New York City in particular, where I happen to be a resident as well. I think that many people are frustrated by the political outcomes that they're seeing and have a desire to be more involved, but don't necessarily have the awareness of how things function on a local level and how great of an impact they can have on a local level. And myself included, and this film provides a pathway and resources for that person that wants to be more plugged in, and also partially inspires people and gives them the knowledge that they could make a difference with a very small amount of their time. And I very much appreciate that and think that that is important for us to watch.
Elections can be so confusing, and I think, that's on like a national primary level, but then you get down to more local elections and, the process of voting and how you get people to count and go out and vote, and territories being divided up for different sections of a city and all, or in a county, and all of that. Like, it's so confusing, and this piece County does a pretty good job of breaking that down. You did a good job using graphics to your advantage to visually set up some pretty confusing concepts, and you do a fairly well job of presenting those. And you also have firsthand accounts. You have the man on the street looks at trying to get county, I think it was county jurors, there were like 15,000 people handing out tickets to get people to join. I know you know what I'm talking about because it's your film, but I think you did a good job of piecing all these different perspectives and sources together to create a piece that lets the viewer educate themselves on voting and the process that goes into it, and hopefully more viewers watch and get a better sense of voting in America. So very, very well done.
Yeah, okay, so that was a very informative documentary. I think that was the purpose of it, to educate and to motivate people to be more participatory in their democracy in the United States. So hopefully it has its desired effect, because I think that they would benefit with more people getting involved, and hopefully it demystifies a bunch of aspects of their democracy and helps to fix things down there. All right.
County, they help us understand what it means to have a crisis of democracy. That it is, to an extent, dying due to the lack of participation from the regular people. They are also contrasting it with showing what involved people look like and what it means when people get involved in this type of processes. When people get informed on the national, state, and county levels, and they show interest in understanding the process, what it takes to get there, and what it means to be there. It's, to some of the people in this film, it is a disregard of what the county committee should be doing based on the actual needs of their constituents, and this is versus the traditional or legacy practices that sustain corruption and bureaucratic red tape to protect a few of the privileged ones that, by the way, have been the ones that already were in position of power and privilege.